Possibly the earliest weapon of all time, the big stick. Now you might not think you could ever innovate on such a simple design, and you'd pretty much be right. No matter how you change the shape, it still works in essentially the same way. But that doesn't mean some people didn't try getting more creative. So what were some of their attempted innovations, and were they even necessary? The origins of blunt weaponry are foggy, as the organic material they were made from generally didn't stand the test of time. But we do know they're extremely old, dating well into the Stone Age, and their use at all suggests a morbid reality. While sharp spears and arrows are extremely useful for hunting and collaborative efforts, clubs or bludgeons have a much rarer use case outside of one thing: human conflict. And they are designed accordingly. These wooden clubs from the Bronze Age Battle of Tollens are a good example of the simple yet effective form blunt weapons would have taken for thousands of years prior into the Stone Age. And nearby bones show their truly deadly potential. One of these examples remarkably resembles a modern baseball bat, and the other a wooden mallet, two designs that will continue with a little change. The first real creative jump is not all that surprising. It's to add weight to the end to increase force of impact. In the late Neolithic, this was achieved by using drilled stone rings, creating a heavy stone head with a thin region for concentrated force. This innovation also seems to coincide with blunt weapons becoming more decorative in some cases, and acting as a symbol for status or even religious significance. In ancient Egypt, for example, stone maces are depicted as being used by the pharaohs themselves in important and symbolic fashion. The Narmer mace head from the 4th millennium BC is delicately carved with important regal events. Stone is very brittle, however, so with increased use of metals, the Bronze Age would bring about new designs, some greatly resembling earlier works of stone, others looking entirely different. Bronze was a highly valued material, so these examples would have likely held similar status and value to the more decorated stone maces. This association with status or ceremony will persist for the most well-made forms of these weapons, while the simpler and purely practical forms will remain associated with brutish violence. Even through the Iron Age up into the medieval, bronze would continue to be a popular material for mace heads, taking many strange and creative forms. In late medieval Europe, however, something would cause the battlefield to change drastically. Plate armor had become so effective that many existing weapons were rendered ineffective against it. In response, we see the bludgeon get more specialized to combat the increasingly effective armor, with designs such as the flanged mace or horseman's pick that reduced the strike area to a very tiny region. This allowed for greater transfer of energy into joints or weak points. For the less affluent, the studded or spiked club, or even the articulated flail, could bring about similar results, if a little bit less precise and durable. From here, the use of firearms would begin to take over, and dedicated bludgeon weapons would become a rarity on the battlefield for modernized militaries. But the story isn't over, as even in World War I, the use of trench clubs became common, as night raids often avoided the use of gunfire in favor of stealth. That's right, this is a weapon of stealth. Along with this, some forms essentially never changed and simply remained in use outside of the battlefield, like the Irish shillelagh. So, after all this time, after changing and innovating in many ways, maces and clubs would go from this to this. And while their heyday might be over, the simple effectiveness of the wooden club doesn't seem likely to be going away anytime soon. If you enjoyed this bit of history, subscribe for more deep dives and even some historical combat experiments.